Okay. How about now? Are we getting a live feed? There's this stupid button on the screen that says go live. I started recording, I started streaming, but of course I didn't. I didn't hit the go live button. One of these days I'm going to figure this software out. I apologize. All right, so we'll go back to the first question that was received. I apologize if I'm just talking to myself. So Rich A says, are there archive spreadsheets to see what assessments other districts received in the past? Everything is rolling now. Once again, I got to talk to myself for 3 or 4 minutes. Anyway, so are there spreadsheets? Yes. Go to districtgov.org, go to the budget department, and you will find the budgets for all the CDDs, as well as EMAC, PWAC, AAC for the last 10 years. If you want more than that, then you have to request them from the district gov. They just have a limited amount of capacity on the public storage. But they're more than happy to give them to you. For EMAC, PWAC, and the AAC, as well as the amenities budgets for between 466 and 44, you have to look at the Village Center Community Development District, Project-Wide Advisory, Sumter Landing Amenities District, or the Eastport. Now, Sumter Landing, you got to look at the Sumter Landing Community Development District to see the Sumter Landing Amenities Division budget, because it's a sub-budget. And then the Eastport Community Development District for EMAC. All right. It looks like obviously everything's coming through. All right. So let's see. Oh yeah, we have some questions. So anybody else have any live questions for right now before I get started? We're going to do a recap on last week. I got a 5-minute version. I think it'll explain it better. And I got a bit of an update from an email exchange with the district manager, Kenny Blocker, last night. So, hey, Karen, Rent from a Villager is Karen. Anyway, Rent from a Villager is one of my advertisers. You see some of my advertisers across the bottom here. They're all great people, and they all do great work and provide great services for the residents. Without them, these broadcasts and videos wouldn't be possible because YouTube doesn't pay worth donk. I mean, at 20,000 subscribers, it's starting to actually pay off. But when you're talking a penny a view, it maybe 2 cents on a good video, it doesn't pay well. So let's get started. All right, I should. So. So Barbara Knight wants to know, do you know what district Waters Edge and Edenfield will be in? Yes, they will both be in District 15. District Waters Edge is in Phase 1 of District 15. Edenfield will be in Phase 2. All right. So again, let's do a recap. You know, the big thing that was a problem is the huge increase that CDD 14 saw. So concerning that, it has nothing to do with amenities. I saw a bunch of online posts about, well, we only have one pool, we don't have a rec center, and all this. It doesn't matter. Maintenance assessment has nothing to do with that. Nothing. That comes out of your amenity fees. Okay? Has nothing to do with the bond. I saw some comments about that. Nothing to do with it. Okay? The bond may have put the infrastructure in, but that's all it did. This is about the operating of these assessment, or the assets. In this case, the retention ponds and the aeration systems and that for them, the ability to move water. That costs for maintaining them are all included in the maintenance assessment. The number of assessed property has remained constant. Only the owners have changed. So last year, it was based on the full 3,242 or something like that is the number. A little over 3,000 properties, whether they were sold or not, whether they were developed or not. So everybody had to pay the maintenance assessment. The only thing that really changed was the owner. If you bought a property in Dabney, Lake Denham, or Newell in the last fiscal year, on your closing documents, you'll see a prepaid for the bond, or excuse me, the maintenance assessment. If you bought it in, let's say, January, well, the developer paid the portion that would cover October, November, and December, and you had to pay the rest. And that's the way it always is. There's no mismanagement here. This is just simple math. And I've got a real simple example on how it works. It's not the developer trying to get rich. This is paying landscaping companies. I don't know that the developer owns any landscaping companies. They don't own the maintenance companies. And they don't own many properties in there anymore either. Most of them are sold out. Okay, so here's a simplified example of how this works. Here we go. All right. So last year, when the fiscal year started, there were X number of properties that were already built and sold, and the common areas were being maintained. And then throughout the year, that number has increased and the maintenance has increased. So let's use a simple example of you own a big plot of land and it's got grass on it. Okay? Let's say it's 150 acres. Last year, you had 50 acres that was done and it was being maintained. No big deal. Now you get a contract for the 100 acres. You say, I'm going to finish these 100 acres out this year. So, and I'm going to do it at 2 acres a week. And let's just go for the sake of argument that there's 50 weeks in the year. That way we get a nice linear number. So you contract somebody to cut that grass and you say, well, how much is it going to be? And he says, well, it's going to be this much this week, and it's going to go up and you say, no. I don't want it to go up every week. I just want a flat number. So he says, okay, it's 2 acres each week. As we go through, he's going to bill you, let's say, $1 an acre to cut it, just for simple math. So the first week, it's going to cost $2. The next week, it's going to cost $4. The week after that, $6. Okay, but he's going to charge you a fixed amount throughout the year. What does that mean? After 25 weeks, then you start getting, okay, at 26 weeks, then it's $52 and so on. But what you're going to get charged is the average for the year. The average for the year is going to be 25 acres, or excuse me, 50 acres. Because you've got 2 acres a week halfway through. The beginning of the week or the beginning of the year, you could say he's overcharging you. And at the end of the year, he's undercharging you. Okay? But the average is, half that. Okay? So it's so 50, or excuse me, 100 acres times 50 weeks is $5,000, let's say. All right. Now, next year rolls around. Yeah, you ask for a price. Now you've got all 150 acres. How much is he going to charge you? He's not going to charge you the same. He's going to charge you for the full 150 acres. The 50 that you had previous year, plus the 100 you've picked up during the year. Guess what? That's a 50% increase. Okay? Add in a few percent for inflation and cost of living, and you're at 56%. And that's the basic crux of it. That's why it jumped so much, because they took an average. So a lot of questions about EMAC. Eastport, excuse me, Eastport Maintenance Advisory Committee. What this is, it does most of the contracting and allows for risk sharing. Okay? When I say it does most of the contracting, it doesn't make sense for CDD 15 and 14 and the Eastport CDD to get contract for somebody to maintain the pumps that move the water around in their CDD. So they get one big contract. They go to Sam's Club or Costco. They get a better price. They do the same thing with the grass cutting, okay, and all the other landscaping work. That's why most, pardon me, that's why most of the cost that you see from the CDD has gone to EMAC. It's not because you're funding the developer. It's because EMAC is taking care of the grass. The same thing goes on with Project-Wide Advisory Committee for districts 5 through 13. They do the same thing. Okay, now there is an update, and I'm going to give it to you real quick. Some stuff got posted over the last 2 days on Facebook, and I was skeptical of it. I stated I was skeptical of it, so I reached out to the district manager last night, and he provided me an update. I will tell you that I think this is crazy, but it's what is being discussed. What's being discussed is that the developer may pick up some of this cost this first year and reduce the impact to the residents in CDD 14. Okay, and it was a substantial number, and they're looking at driving it down to the increase down to less than half of what was put out. This still has to be passed by the board, and it has not been made official, but the information is being passed along. So there is a potential for it to decrease. Why do I think it's crazy? Because 14, if they get a discount, 13 is going to want it too. And next year, when the rates go up again, 14 is going to want the discount again. And I think it's opening Pandora's box. And I think it's a mistake. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. That's the 5-minute version. And we got a bunch of questions. Let's see. Talked about Water's Edge. Have you talked about government bond ratings? So James wants to know, have you talked about government bond ratings? I'm assuming you mean the district bond ratings, the development bonds that are issued by each CDD. I had some dealing with that when we refinanced phase 1 for CDD 10. It was real fun signing $57 million worth of banknotes for refinancing the phase 1 bonds in CDD 10 when I was chairman. Those bonds are considered very highly rated, very secure, and excuse me. Pardon me. They go very fast when they're put on the market. I don't know where you buy them. Obviously, you need to go through some sort of broker, but that's in general what it is. Mark wants to know, we also own a home in CDD 15 and received notice that the bond assessment is $3,327 and the annual proposed maintenance assessment is $816. We're new to the villages. Are these numbers typical? Okay, so the bond assessment you already knew. That was in your closing documents. They have to put this information out. This year, they have no choice because the CDD is new. This is the first time they've passed these budgets. So that's exactly what it is. Yeah. So, the bond assessment, it's not going to change. If it changes, it will go down. That normally happens at about the 10-year point, when they can relet the note. The bonds, reissue them. This is not a bank loan. This is an investment bond that is that's issued to investors. Investors expect to have that fixed rate for a finite period of time, and it's guaranteed normally. Excuse me, the coffee is getting to me today, and it's normally guaranteed for 10 years. That's why, 3 years ago, CDD 10 redid phase 1, and then last year they redid phase 2. They hit the 10-year point. They'll only do that, though, if the market is favorable. If it's not favorable, they'll hold off on reissuing the bonds until they can get a better interest rate. And that better interest rate is a lower interest rate. Let's see. Victoria wants to know, hi Don, any news on fencing on Designer Cottage Premier Homes? Well, I've seen it. It's ugly. It's ugly. It's like a 30-foot section for $3,000. I don't like it. My personal opinion is if you really want a fence, get a border property that backs up to a wall, or buy a veranda. Buy a veranda or a courtyard villa. They all have walls. All right. James wants to know, all right. Okay, here we go. James clarified his question about my question was about municipal bond ratings of specific government areas, how well they manage their financial responsibilities. Okay, in the villages, I don't know of anybody that's issuing municipal bonds except for the commercial CDDs. The Sumter Landing CDD issued a bond when they purchased the amenities between 466 and 44. That was 8 years ago. And they went instantly. They were unbelievably fast. Mark wants to know, what can homeowners who attend the CDD 15 September 12th public meeting on the bond benefit and proposed maintenance assessments expect to experience? Boredom. Having sat up at the front of these meetings and done this, so I will be straightforward with you. Maybe something will change at CDD 15 or 14, but I don't expect anything to change at CDD 15. The supervisors have all been completely briefed. They've had time to go over the budgets and everything. It's really perfunctory. They know whether the budget is adequate or not at that point. And I'll be honest with you, I can't think of a single meeting that I haven't gone into when we were approving budgets for the final approval where I didn't know how I was going to vote before I walked in. That's CDD 10, that's project-wide fund, it's amenity, the amenity fund, even the county budget workshops, or the county budgets that I set for the last 2 years. I spent a lot of time going over them. I knew what they said. It's highly unlikely it's going to change. There is an opportunity for public comment and question. And if you do have questions, please take the time to ask them. All right. The supervisors and the district staff will go out of their way to give you as much information as possible. If you're asking specific questions, they may have to get back to you. If you're asking about, for example, how much the bond is on your property or not. They may not have that information available, but they'll get it back to you. All right. Bruce wants to know, we enjoyed the video last week, especially the veranda courtyard villa section next to Monarch Grove. Oh, thank you. Question is Central Pay Rec Center standard family. Do you see anything extra in this with this rec center? So Central Pay that's the new one that's being built in Wellpoint. If you go south out of Monarch Grove on the Corbin Trail and you hang a left on McNeil, you'll see it right there on your left being built. I've got some great footage of that. That's coming out in the next video. I'll talk about that in just a second. It's been a rough week. But I expect that to be your typical village rec center, just like, Saluki, or, oh, goodness, hopefully not like Franklin, because they don't really need more watermelons. Oh, my gosh, that design is terrible. All right. But no, I don't see anything extra. Well, yes, there is something extra in it. The radio-controlled boat pond is there. They put in the floating dock. It's in there now. Again, I got some great video footage of that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Carrie says, update, I'll be working at Boosters. We open late September. Oh, that's good news, Carrie. Congratulations. So Sharon Lee says, do you believe the developers are responsible for recent flooding in Florida with overdevelopment? So are you talking villages, or are you talking developers in general? Either one, I would say no. I mean, when it rains in Florida, it rains, and we get tons of it. Let's see. Carrie says, perfect side hustle right next to my home in Middleton. Oh, okay. Don, tell us about 470. It's a county road. It's 2 lanes. It goes through Sumter County and Lake County. What more do you want to know? No, I know what you're asking. You're asking about the property on the south side. So I've heard some things. I got a really, really wonderful comment on my YouTube channel last night. Somebody made some statements, something I can't prove. I haven't found any information yet. Nothing has been made public that I am aware of or that I have found in my searching. I haven't been able to search the last couple of weeks like I normally do through public records. So I may have missed something, but I don't think I have. I've gone back for the last 2 months in search of some other stuff, and I haven't found anything particular to that other than, going to be cleared. Tom R. says, in what villages are the 30-foot fences being offered? I'm going to assume Wellpoint, but definitely Shady Brook. Jim says, did you check the new construction video clip I sent you on the building of a building next to Powell? Okay. So Jim sent me a quick video clip, a drive-by of a building that's going up on Powell Road next to Wildwood Preserves, which is an apartment complex. I did look at it, and I'm drawing a blank. I looked at the SwiftMud site to see what was going in there, and I'm honestly drawing a blank on what it was. It was some sort of commercial property, but I'm going to have to get back on you on that one, Jim. I apologize. Mark says, let out the secret on what's going on across Lake Dedham at the entrance to 470. Again, nothing's been put out. Nothing has been that I've seen is in any of the public documents yet. Tom Tom R. says, can a homeowner put their own 30-foot fence up later? If so, in what village? And all right. So some people might be annoyed after signing for a new house or lot expecting an open view and then suddenly seeing a fence. So my understanding is those fences are going between the homes that give you what's called a kissing lanai. They're not quite as bad farther south, but I know in the village of Hillsborough, where I live, the lanai's back up really close, and you can have a conversation over your morning coffee. All right. But I don't know if the homeowners will be able to, if I had to guess, I would say initially no, because they want to sell them. But we'll see. Good question, though. Brad says, to see the new fence look at some of the new inventory for the homes. Okay. Yep, there's some in Shady Brook that show you what it looks like. What do I have against watermelons? I got nothing against watermelons. Trust me, I love watermelon. All different kinds of watermelon. But man, I talk about overdone with the pink and the green and just the whole watermelon theme in Franklin. It was a little too much for me. Okay. The Village Idiots. Why some of these names? Okay. What is the Middleton maintenance fee? What and who pays the upkeep of the pools in Middleton? I honestly don't know. I have not looked that heavily into Middleton. It's on my list of things to do after Tuesday. It's been a busy kind of couple of weeks. Kim wants to know about Megason and 470. Again, don't have anything definitive yet. I was referring to the recent flooding in Sarasota. I'm assuming you're talking Sarasota, Florida. Honestly, I haven't been watching the news too much. Sarasota, though, I'm trying to remember where it is. Yeah, it's on the coast. I mean, anything on the coast is subject to all kinds of flooding. Brad says new homes with new fences can be seen along the streets, such as some of the streets down there off Jeff Anderson. How is Sully doing? Any puppies on the way? So Sully is Brad's asking about Sully, my male dog. He's not having puppies. He better not be. He's very positive in his gender, I'm sure. But no new puppies on the way. Next week, I take Sadie for her pre-op. She is going to be spayed, and there will be no more puppies in the Wiley household. It was a tremendous amount of work. It was a lot of joy. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you the amount of joy. But it was a tremendous amount of work every morning. Up at 5, and I'd be cleaning up and doing things until 6, and then of course I'd read the newspaper, and they'd steal a piece of the newspaper because we let them out and run around, and then I got to pick up shredded newspaper. But no, they've all gone home. They all went home about a month ago. 8 of the 10 puppies went home to families with children, and they are all doing very well. I've seen some pictures of them, and they look great. Let's see. Victoria wants to know what kitchen countertop is standard for new construction verandas. Is it granite, quartz, or Formica? I believe it's quartz. It's not granite. It's quartz. But and Formica, no. The only place I've ever seen Formica is on some of the lower priced patio villas and courtyard villas. Although I have seen it in a few designer homes that were spec homes that were looking to bring the cost down. Tommy Putts. Tommy 3 Putts. Okay. It's been almost 2 months since lots were released for designer homes. Any idea why so long? Any idea when WellPoint will be released? No idea on why or when they're going to be released. They're getting close. I will tell you on WellPoint. I've seen some online maps that when I was talking with one of the realtors this past week, that are showing lots being readied, so it will be soon. Unschool says, jealous of your new computer monitor. Now you're not seeing the new one. So what's behind me is two 34-inch ultra wides, and there's another one over here to my left. And so I got 3 of those. I had 2 of them on the Apple, and one with a standard 27-inch on the Windows PC. I shifted 234s over to 234s on the Windows PC, and I bought myself a Apple Studio monitor. It's got the camera that you're seeing right now is the camera in the monitor. It's got a fabulous picture. I really like it. I really didn't like the price. It was $1,300. It was absolutely ridiculous. Apple loves their prices. Yeah. Anyway, Brad says, I am seeing more cars and golf cars running stop signs and speeding through, as well as golf carts entering no golf cart roads. Why is there no police presence in the village, especially the Finney area? So the Finney area, you're going to have to ask the city of Wildwood. I know that in the Sumter County unincorporated section of the villages, there has been stepped up police coverage where the Sumter County Sheriff has been issuing quite a few tickets. I even had a very upset resident call me, telling me that he was being targeted because he had out-of-state plates. And anyway, the fact that he was speeding really didn't seem to matter to him. Anyway, let's see. But, my recommendation, call your commissioners in Wildwood and ask them to pick up on the enforcement. That's one of the things you're paying your Wildwood city taxes for. I'm not sure what else you're getting for your money, but that's what you're getting. Jerry says, Don, over the years living in the villages, for your homeowner's insurance, what coverage do you suggest for having or purchasing a home? Thank you. Wow. I'll be honest with you, I am not an insurance expert. I have full coverage on both my vehicles and on my motorcycle. I have liability on my golf cart, and my house I have what the bank requires, plus an extra for contents, and I took some higher coverage levels over the basic coverage, just because I know it was more, but homes appreciate here in the villages very quickly. I wanted to make sure I was covered. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Bruce says, have you down highways? Okay. Bruce, I'm going to get back to your question. It's actually on the other monitor for the questions. When I get caught up here, I'll switch over to those questions. What he's asking about is their turnpike goes over Highway 48 and there's a nice open gap. We'll talk about that. Mark says, any idea why the bottleneck where 301 meets the turnpike? When the bottleneck where 301 meets the turnpike will be fixed? We try to avoid the route because the traffic is often backed up. Yes, it is. That whole area is scheduled over the next 3 years for widening of the road, improvements on the bridge over the over that exit. It's going to be a couple of years, I think, before it clears up. And don't think that's the last of it, because at the same time they're going to be working on adding a lane on I-75 in both directions in Sumter County north of 44, and they're going to start widening the turnpike from 4 lanes to 8 lanes. All 3 of those will probably be going on at the same time. Chris Hand says, I saw an article stating that it is possible that Walmart may be built on 44 and Morse. Do you think this would be golf cart accessible? Good question. I actually have that in my upcoming video. You can actually see part of it in the monitor right here. That's me where I was working on it. I do not think it's going to be golf cart accessible. Why? Because both those roads are 45-mile-an-hour roads. And in order to make it golf cart accessible, they're going to either have to put a bridge or a tunnel. And I just don't see it. It's a tremendous expense. Now, the other part of the equation is, where are you going to connect it to? If you want to cross over Morse, there's really nowhere to connect it to. If you go, which way would that be? Towards Finney on Morse. That's all wetlands. You're going to have to pass through wetlands. That ain't happening. You could go up towards the paralleling 44, going up towards the Chitty Chatty Bridge. I don't see that happening either. And crossing 44, the only place you'd cross is on the side of where the ball fields are. I don't see that happening. I just don't see it happening. It's not going to be golf cart accessible. Ebb 2000 says, I lived in Sarasota 30 years ago, and there was major flooding then. We got 10 inches of rain in 2 days, and the flooding was worse then. Okay, yeah. Bill Gizidia said, do you think the developer is responsible for the earthquakes in California? That's yes, I do. It's the developer. Everything is the developer's fault. All right. Brad says, what is your opinion on the proposal to put centerline striping on golf cart paths in the villages? The multimodal path discussion group is discussing at Savannah at 2 p.m. I'm in favor of it. I was part of the multimodal path discussion group when it originally was formed, and I was on the project-wide advisory committee. I think it's the right thing to do. If not the striping, then at least the roadway pavement markers. Sorry, my nose is itching. Which are the buttons that you see on the road. Either one is fine. It will help at night tremendously. I mean, I have pretty good eyesight, and it's difficult driving them at night, especially if the roads are wet. I think it's the right thing to do. But one of the big things is consistency. When we were having the hearings on whether to put them in or not, I heard a lot of, let's just call it crazy reasons. People will trip over the buttons. Why are they walking down the middle of the road? The stripe is slippery. Why are you walking on the stripe? You shouldn't be walking down the middle of the road. Just some really silly things. Well, people won't move over. You know what? Most people are pretty smart. They understand why the stripe is there, and they're going to, they know how to drive on the road. If there's a bicycle on the road and you go to pass it, you move over. Obviously, it's a guideline for you to help you navigate better. Hi, Don. Which insurance company are you using? Well, I got it through Villages Insurance when I first moved in, and like everybody else, my rates have been going up, and not much at this point we can do about it. I think personally, we're never going to see them come down quite. And part of the reason is look at the price of everything. It's gone up, so the replacement cost has gone up, which means the insurance companies have greater risk. If they have greater risk, they got to charge more. So. But anyway, I don't remember the name of the company. I got the policy over here sitting on the floor, getting ready to be filed away because it just renewed. So Tom R. says, a village salesperson tells me rumors are that some sections of Well Point will be used for lifestyle visits and not sold to the public. Any information on that? Yeah, I've heard the same rumor. I have some really cool pictures. They've taken down the no trespassing sign, so I drove through there. I got some really good pictures. All the doors in a section of patio villas and courtyard and patio villas and cottage homes are different colors. They're pretty nice looking. Those will be in the next video. Land Girl, thank you very much. Appreciate the donation. It definitely helps. Same to you, Victoria. As always, you're such a great asset, and I appreciate the donations. Mark says, often our windows have condensation on them in the morning. Is there any air conditioning fogging treatment that can be that we can do to minimize that? I don't know. Not that I'm aware of. Condensation is condensation. The good thing is the humidity is going to start dropping, so it's not going to be so bad. So hopefully it won't be a problem. Village Idiot says, we need a Lake County wingnut. Okay, sure. Angel Eyes 222 says, hello, Don. Do you have any idea what sections will be open in late fall? In late fall, no. Probably Well Point. Shady Brook will probably be selling, and possibly even Water's Edge. But beyond that, the Magic 8 Ball just doesn't work that well. Let's see. I wish they would put yellow stripes on all the golf cart paths. I agree, Steve. Mushki says people need to only drive a golf cart or car on the speed they can see. It's tough to see at 20 miles an hour, then slow down and speed up when you have time to respond to an issue. You're right. It's called operating the vehicle at a safe speed. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting question. Victoria asks, what is better financially when filling your pool for the first time, water truck or filling from a house hose? Thanks for answering everyone's questions. Interesting question. And I actually know how much this costs, because when I had my pool put in, there was some problems with the finish, and it needed to be acid washed a second time, and they had already filled it. So they had to drain the pool, acid wash it, and refill the pool. And I was smart enough to take readings before and after filling the pool, and it cost about $80 to fill the pool. I don't think you're going to get a water truck out there for $80. Yes, a water truck will be faster. You're going to have your autofill, and you're going to use a water hose, maybe grab your neighbor's water hose. It takes a day and a half, 2 days to fill. Should be not a problem. All right, so, oh, wow, Muskie says, the doors are not just cute colors, but very upscale doors, lots of side lights, and pretty glass front doors. You're right. Didn't want to spill all the beans at once, Muskie. Rain-X works? Yeah, probably so. Mark wants to know, if you will be organizing the volunteer effort to provide Thanksgiving meals to the firefighters, how can people help? Mark, that's a great question. That effort starts the 21st of this month. I have put it on hold until after the election when I have a little more time. I am working on also a fundraising event for video 150, which should be out in about 6 weeks. There's 149 will be out in about 4 weeks, and 150 will be out in about 6 weeks. There's another one coming in between 148 and 149. It's about buying a house and some of the things to understand about the whole house buying process here. It's one I've been working on the script and all that for the last month or two. And that's just because of all the questions I got asked about buying a house. All right. Gracie says, trying a dehumidifier, or call your HVAC company and have them either adjust the inside unit for humidity. Yep. Pulling your humidity down will help. But anyway, back to the firefighting fundraiser. So next weekend, I should have the location and date finalized, and some other things that I'm working on, and I will put information out about that. Then we'll start to look for volunteers to help organize both the fundraiser and the actual Thanksgiving dinner. And the fundraiser is to raise money for the Firemen's Relief Fund, to give them a little extra. Last year, I think it was, I'd have to check my spreadsheet, but I think it was like $3,600 we raised. It was pretty good. The year before that, it was about $1,200. Let's see. No lighted yard signs. Okay. Mike asked, "Hi Don, I was wondering if the county was considering the widening of 462. It seems to be more and more constricted where it meets 466A. There's also quite a few housing units going up there." I remember a discussion about this a couple of months ago, but honestly, I've been out of the loop on 462 for the last 3 months, so I really can't. I don't want to speculate, but I know that there is some widening going on the intersection. Enough with the watermelons. I love them. I love them too. Let's see. If they build a Walmart at 44 in Morse, they will definitely need to do something with the intersection to help move traffic. In season, southbound Morse backs up beyond the traffic circle to Publix. Yep, I agree. All right. So, wow, time is running. Let's go back to the questions. And all right. So Brad says, I'm thinking about buying a home in the Moultrie Creek or Shady Brook area, but I am concerned about flood zones. I know the villages moves dirt, clay into low spots with a plumb, i.e. it's obvious that they are grandmasters of protecting homes from rain-sourced flooding, sacrificing golf courses before homes, for example. Yes, you're right. But still, I'm shocked to see the areas southeast of Eastport, and he provided a map. I'll show you that in just a second. Marked as flood zone A, which is a 100-year flood zone, and AE. And he talked about a 26% chance of flooding over the 30-year life of a 30-year mortgage. I doubt I'll be around to see all that. I'm thinking Well Point will be safer or not require flood insurance. What do you know about this? So this is the map he's showing me. The red areas are the flood zones. And this is based on the pre-developed. This needs to be reworked. I don't know the answer on how to get FEMA to come in here and rework the flood zones. But obviously, when it does get reworked, a lot of this is going to change. All right. Oh, Navy vet, thank you. Good to see another Navy vet online. All right. And this is Bruce's questions. What do you think about golf carts under the turnpike? And where he's talking about is, I don't know, can you see my mouse? No, the mouse isn't showing up. But anyway, on the picture on the left, there's the turnpike and County Route 48. The left-hand side of that is a Secret Promise property, and the property on the north side of that, that's the point that's pointed down, that is the property that is connected to the area. Excuse me again. The area south of 470 and excuse me, south of 470 and Marsh Bend Trail, not Marsh Bend Trail, Megason. I think it's an interesting idea. The state owns that land, so I'm not sure if they're going to be willing to give it up. It looks like they planned for widening of 48 to 4 lanes, but it's definitely an interesting idea, and it's village's property on both sides, so we'll see. That's still a few years down the road, though. Tom says, I'm interested in buying a home in the villages, but have concerns about the number of short-term rental properties that could disrupt the lifestyle or neighborhood feel. Websites like Zillow, Airbnb, Vrbo, VH4, Rent from a Villager, literally thousands of villages' homes for rent by the day or week. Around the country, many towns and HOAs have regulations requiring rental property registration, paying taxes, fees on each rental, limiting the rentals to a minimum of 30 days or a maximum rental once each year, etc. I understand that none of the village's CDD rules address or restrict any rentals. The developer has no plans or incentive to include any rental restrictions in new CDDs. You're right, because of the lifestyle preview homes that they frequently have. Please discuss if Sumter, Lake, Marion counties have or are talking about creating any regulations limiting renting homes, or websites provide data, or which websites provide data on the number and locations of rentals in each village. Tom, it's a great question, and it's one that really annoys me. I live in a Courtyard Villa community. When we first moved in, we had a lot of them. It's down to, I think, just 2 or 3 short-term rentals now. Long-term rentals, I don't mind. Some of my best friends are Ron and Marianne. They live down the street. They've been renting 4 or 5 years now. I'm going over their house tonight to play samba for a couple of hours. We do this every Sunday. But I will tell you, so the state legislature is very much pro these short-term rentals for whatever reason. Obviously, it means a lot for tourism dollars. So in that respect, I understand tourism being our largest industry. In the state of Florida, agriculture is number 2. Mining is number 3 or number 4. So anyway, but tourism is big, and so there's no incentive to cut off your nose to spite your face. They did, the state legislature did pass some laws this past year concerning rentals and having them pay taxes, but it didn't include any tools for the counties or the cities for enforcement. It didn't give them any options. So it says you should collect it, but they don't give you any enforcement abilities. So it's kind of a paper tiger. So this is all at the state level, and I think that they're terrible too. I understand some people want to come here and stay for a week or so to see if they like it. I get it. But unfortunately, it is very disruptive to many neighborhoods. And I don't know of any website that lists all the rentals. There's a lot of them, though. Leanna Mark says, can you please explain how the lottery process works for buying view home sites or lots? We are waiting for WellPoint to open and are interested in purchasing a home with a view. I've heard a little bit about the lottery, but don't fully understand how it works. Any insights you can provide would be greatly appreciated. Leanna Mark, I got some insights on it this past week. I talked with one of the realtors that was doing a showing. Basically, there's a customer screen that it's going to be for each client, each customer. They have their own screen. They have 3 choices that when a property is going to become available that you can fill in, or that the realtor fills in. And when they list the following morning, the computer looks at the list and takes a random selection out of that list, and then that's the winner. View sites are tough to come by. If you're looking for an empty lot, they're by far the hardest to get. It's not unheard of to have 20, 30, even up to 50 people wanting the same lot. But it's pretty much a random thing. You get 3 choices that you can put in. When we bought our investment property back in, we picked it out in April. We said we wanted unit 4, 9, or 12. Any one of those we wanted. We ended up getting our 3rd choice, number 12, which in my opinion turned out to be the best one. It has the best view, and it was middle of the road in price. We got a couple of more questions. We're gonna power through some more of these here on the PowerPoint. We're gonna go an extra 10, 15 minutes today, I think. Hi Don, your video and Sunday Live provides lots of helpful info for those of us thinking about buying in villages months ahead and in 2025. Since the developer and their salespeople are focused on what is for sale today, they understandably provide very little or no information about the timelines or locations of future homes, pools, etc. However, since adult and family pools and postal station construction is started months before any homes in a village is offered for sale, I think that type of construction would be very helpful and a precise indicator of when new homes will be built and offered for sale. With that in mind, I would ask that in future videos you consider showing construction status and location of any adult, family, sports pools, postal centers, recreation areas in any of the planned villages in Eastport, especially Wellpoint, Edenfield, Oak Hollow, LaGrange, Green Grove Hills, Lakeside, and Water's Edge. So Tom, I do that. I try and cover those. Many times, for example, in 148 coming up, I didn't cover Water's Edge because nothing has really changed significantly. However, Wellpoint is covered. I'll tell you right now, it's got water in the pool now, so it's getting close. But yeah, that is one of the things I definitely look for, and I do normally include. Chuck sent me 2 emails. Is the bridge parallel to 470 across the turnpike going to be built soon? And also, the bridge I'm asking about is a golf cart bridge. We were told the property and permitting has been acquired before we bought in Dabney. Well, I know that the developer owns the property up to that. Permitting, I have seen no permits pulled. Permitting are public records. That's one of the things I check routinely. And, it's anybody's guess. It's probably 2 or 3 years down the road. A lot depends on what happens on that area south of 470 and Megason Road. This one I loved. Hello, this is from Bob M. He says, hello, Don. Do you know if the Village's News is a liberal rag like the POA? Seems like they have a strong left tilt. I don't think they're liberal, but I do think that both the POA and the Village's News are very, anti-villages. My understanding is that the owner of Village's News was let go from the Daily Sun. She used to work there. I don't know the reasons behind it, but apparently she is carried a grudge because 95% of the stories she publishes have something negative or try to put some negative spin on the villages, the developer, the community, or the residents. If that's your sole source of news, then we're all a bunch of drunks, and it's just poor. And the POA, they are definitely anti-developer. They see the boogeyman behind every bush. That it's the developer trying to screw the residents, the developer trying to get rich. I will tell you, my experience with a developer has been that they once they get done in an area, they move on. There's no more money to be made once it's built. Okay, that's it. They have to meet all the laws, the legal requirements, and then they move on. But left-leaning or a liberal rag, no, I'm not going to go there. I don't believe that to be true. All right. Let me see. All right, that was the last of my questions. We'll jump back over here. Let's see. Red is AE bad. Okay, thanks, Brad. When will the Wellpoint pool be finished and opened? Since a village pool is always open before the new homeowners move in, the status of the village pool can indicate when homes will be released. Yes, Tom, you're right. And as I said, they were putting water in that earlier this week, so it's full. Neighbor Jill, I'll just say, we are looking to secure a lot in January, February. Any idea what will be available in designer homes then? Thank you as always. Yeah, again, that's so far out. That's 4 months out. I can put a pretty reasonable guess 2 weeks in advance. Sometimes even a month in advance. I can see what's coming. But 4 months. No, my Ouija board broke a long time ago. Let's see. Brad says, Jill, I would expect villages to emphasize the 5 new floor plans for designers in 2025. Everett, Franklin, Gilchrist, Dabney, and Jubilee. Well, Brad, I'll tell you, I looked at the floor plans. Debbie and I sure didn't like what we saw. Brad says, I live next to a rental. It's very disruptive to us. Lots of rental is a few days at a time. Issue with noise and pets. Greg R. says, I believe the governor vetoed the short-term rental legislation anyway. Yeah, even less tools than we have to work with it. Brad S. says, my TV salesperson said Lakeside will be the last village to be released. I don't think so, because I've been looking at Lakeside. They're moving ahead very quickly on Lakeside. They're working on the roads. They're putting in the undergrounds. And that is ahead of Edenfield. It's ahead of, LaGrange is already done, and so is Oak Hollow. So it's definitely ahead of Edenfield. So it's anybody's guess, which order they're going to go to. So Victoria says, what is the average time it takes to build and complete a village? Village size really vary in size from a couple hundred to 1,500, nearly 2,000 on some of them. The average time to build a house is about 105 days. And that's based on me having watched and taken pictures of 200 homes in the last 5 years. That's part of my business. So for example, Lake Dedham and Dabney aren't sold out yet. They still have a couple of houses left, and there's always a few stragglers with every village. But if you look at Moultrie Creek, okay, all the houses are just about built. There's a couple still under construction at the very northern tip of it. But that's been 6-7 months that it's been like that it's taken to build it. So 6 months, let's call it 6 to 8 months. Patio villas are, Muskie says, patio villas are the most common short-term rental properties So when I was looking to buy in the villages, I stayed away from patio villas. Having said that, I saw 2 homes for rent in the enclave. Yeah, I've seen them in the enclave too. There may be one coming open shortly for Moultrie Creek that I may be plugging. We'll see. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up here, and this print is very small on this monitor. Brad said, Mike says, meaning the next one up to come on market, any sense of timing? So I think, Shady Brook is selling like hotcakes right now. After that is definitely going to be Well Point. I say in another month, I think we're going to start seeing houses up for sale in Well Point, especially over by the Saint-Tropez Recreation Center. It's a nice big section it's a combination of courtyard villas and veranda homes, and many of them are on the golf course. I think those are going to sell like hotcakes, and I think they're coming up shortly. Sharon says, Dawn, if you had not purchased a home in Moultrie Creek, in what other areas would you have targeted? That's easy. Water's Edge, Shady Brook, Lakeside, those. And for the same reason as I discussed in video 137, it's right between Middleton and Eastport. And so I think that's going to be a hot area. All right. So I got one more. I just wanted to share this one with you. Brad says, Well Point sounded a lot more interesting before you mentioned widening the turnpike to 8 lanes. Yeah, that's another reason why I had stuck with the Middleton Shady Brook area, just because it is farther from the turnpike, a lot farther, and you don't hear any noise. I stopped by there, last night. I was coming from a political event. Stopped in at the house, went out on the lanai. It was nice and quiet. No traffic noise, no nothing. It was very nice. Lights reflecting off the water. It's very pretty. All right, you know what? The heck with this guy. I'm not going to give this guy his due. He's, Anyway, if you want to read it, it's under the Gold Wingnut Live, number 27. It's the most recent comment. It is what it is. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate everybody sticking around. We've got 220 concurrent viewers right now. That's awesome. So, wow. Last week we had almost 400. But anyway, as always, life is short. We don't know what tomorrow brings, so enjoy life today. Give it the 2-minute offense and go have fun. Don't get bogged down and so many of life's little miseries that really are trivial. With that, I'll bid you all a good day, and we will see you next week. And if you haven't voted yet, please, it is your civic responsibility. It is a gift that we as Americans have of voting for our leadership. Please take the time Tuesday, go and vote. Whoever you vote for, that's your choice, but obviously I would appreciate your vote. Do you have Muskie says, do you have an election party? I don't have one, but a friend of mine has scheduled a watch party that we are heading to. Honestly, I couldn't touch the party that Jen puts on. She is an incredible cook, and I will probably reverse a week or two of weight loss on Tuesday night. So again, thank you all for joining me. We'll do this again. Oh, I meant to tell you, 148. I got bogged down this week. 148 is in the process of being edited. You can see it behind me. The video should be done tonight. I hope to have it out Tuesday afternoon. So look for the announcement. And again, oh yeah, please support all my sponsors. They're all great people, and they offer great services for you. So anyway, thank you again. Have a great